Very good. Okay. All right. Questions for Coach White?
Right, their defense gets so much attention, but what kind of challenge would the offensive side of the ball face this week?
Well, they up front they're just so physical. I mean, we know that. Obviously, playing every year it's an absolute battle. Their front is big. Uh, they're heavy on double teams. They really try to move you off the line of scrimmage. Their backs are big, physical downhill runners, and then and even a guy like James Cook that can come in and in the past has maybe just been a perimeter guy in the pass game. And, he can come in and he's running hard and physical downhill. They're hard to tackle. Obviously, the quarterback, Stetson, gives them the ability to have a little bit of QB run game. He can pull it and make some plays with his legs. So that's an added dimension now. The tight end is playing really, really well. And they've got a slew of them. They got Washington from last year and 19 now as a freshman, and Fitzpatrick's obviously been there. So, and then you go out to the edges, and they've got some talented wide receivers. I know they've had some injuries they've been working through, but we'd anticipate those guys getting back. So they can stretch it at a lot of different levels. But it starts for them. It starts up front. And it starts with running the ball, and they're physical, and they rushed for over 5 yards a carry last year. We got to do a good job of trying to be firm there and as physical as we can. But even if you fit it perfect, man, you got to deal with the back. And trying to have a one-on-one tackle on one of those run backs is never an ideal situation. So, big challenge.
What are you expecting as far as just what that game is going to kind of look like? And obviously you're not concerned about the atmosphere, but just in terms of what it's going to look like and how that day's going to go.
Yeah, every game's a little bit different. I mean, you can sort of have a picture in your mind what you think it's going to look like, but everything changes, and the important piece for our defense and for our team in general is, when you get those ebbs and flows, when, whether you get a play in your favor, against you, whatever, you have to be able to adjust and adapt. And the team in these games that adapts to those situations tends to end up on top. So we've got to do a good job. Again, you can have you figure this is going to be a pretty physical trench warfare type game, but both sides of the ball have the ability to open it up and expand and go vertical. So you just never know how a game's really going to play out, but we've got to bring our pads because there's going to be a lot of thumping, I can promise that.
In a game like this, you expect turnovers, so obviously you want to generate as much as possible, but it's easier to say that than to go out there and do it. What can you do, though, to, because like last year, they don't throw the ball around too much, but you get 2 kicks. It kind of, I guess, how do you get ready to just make those plays?
When the play presents itself, the guys have to make it. Obviously, you rep things in practice and you go through certain drills, but, at the end of the day, if it's a tip ball, if it's an overthrown ball, that you've got to be able to adjust in the air and make it. The 2 picks last year, one was obviously Phil caught his own tip pass, and one was a little bit sort of overthrown. In fact, made a good adjustment on the ball, but the play that sort of sticks out is the 3rd down when Jamin ripped the ball out, and the ball was on the ground and we didn't recover. Those are plays that we need to make. If we rip the ball out, we have got to find a way to recover it. Because if you recover the ball there, you're putting your offense in a position there on the plus 30 going in. So we've got to make some game-changing turnovers. In big crucial moments, we've got to continue to try to come up with stops. We had an opportunity last year on the first drive of the second half, the 4th and 1. Would have been a huge stop if we could have made it. Instead, we didn't make it, and they go for 22 and a touchdown. So those are the plays that this game could pivot on, and we've got to be able to make those. We've made them thus far. Obviously, this is the biggest challenge to date. So.
What have you seen from Khalil and Trayvon, the guys that are having to step up now with Oxford down now?
Well, I think they understand the urgency, you know, of the situation, and but you can't replicate the physicality and the intensity and the strength that they're about to see. You know, and it was good for those guys to get. You know, Khalil got some in that Florida game. You know, Trey's obviously played, you know, the entire season, so he's got to go against LSU and Florida and Missouri. But this is a big physical front, and it's hard to replicate. You know, obviously we're lucky enough to have to go against our offensive line in spring and fall camp, and so they get a taste of that. But even camp is nothing like game day, which is nothing like two top SEC teams battling for the top of their division. You know, the intensity amps up even more, and so they're going to have to anchor in there, and they're going to have to play big.
Mark and Vince have both kind of talked about this being, you know, the last time Doug was in this position against Georgia in 2018, and maybe they're more ready, you know, you kind of know what more to expect in this moment. But your guys in particular, there's a lot of experience there. Do you sense that they kind of, do you sense that readiness for them?
Yeah, I mean, what I feel with this group is they understand the magnitude of this game, but they also understand that it is Game 7, you know, and not Game 7 of a 7-game series. This is Game 7 of a 12-game season, and they're approaching it, and their approach to the week has been how we've approached the last 6 weeks, and try not to make the game bigger than it is. Obviously, everybody understands the weightiness of it, but if you make it too big, they usually never turns out to be a good one. You know, but then there's too much pressure this, or you're thinking about that. I think it's all about rhythm and, you know, routine, and our guys have found a routine to fall in, and they're staying true to that, which is good, and we need them to.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you very much.